Little Ray pressed his nose to the screen door, staring out at the approaching stranger, and he called out, "Mama, another one's coming up the walk." Well, Mama knew what that meant, another hobo looking for a handout. Moments later, there was a reticent knock on the screen door frame. A pair of cavernous eyes, squinting through the sun's glare, peered into the kitchen. Mama came to the door and said, "Can I help you?" She was a tiny woman with a soft, warm voice. The man clutched his hat to his breast. "Would you please, ma'am," he began. Well, Little Ray knew what was coming, and so did Mama. "Is there some work that I could trade for a plate of food?" the stranger said. That's the way they put it almost always, and they did mean it. Most were willing to work, but in all of the time that Mama had been feeding tramps and needy travelers, she had never asked anything in return. But why, wondered Little Ray, did they keep coming to Mama's house? How did this legion of dirty, tough-looking characters find their way to the little red brick bungalow on 2901 Olive Street? Well, for one thing, the railroad tracks were only 5 blocks away. And the town itself was a railroad crossroads during those Great Depression times. Hobos, of course, rode the rails, a seemingly endless procession of them. Victims of overflowing rivers and banks gone bust and crops turned to dust. But there were other homes along the dirt roads between here and the tracks, so it puzzled Little Ray that the tramps kept showing up at Mama's kitchen door in particular. And they showed up every day, and not one was ever turned away. The most recent of these hungry visitors had just gobbled a plate of beans and biscuits and gravy, had reverently expressed his gratitude to Mama, and he was about to leave when he hesitated in the middle of the walk, as though trying to decide something, and then he finally turned around and he said, "Lady, you must be wondering. I expect a lot of people come here looking for food, don't they?" And that's when Little Ray's ears perked up. "Yes," Mama answered, "people do come here all the time." The stranger said, "Don't you know why?" And Mama shook her head, and the man said, "Come out here and I'll show you." So Mama and Little Ray followed him out to the street, where the ragged fellow pointed down to what seemed a symbol of some sort, chalked on the curbstone. "See," the tramp told Mama, "you're a mark." Indeed, the hobos had made a mark on the curb in front of the house, a sign to those who followed that they'd be fed there. So the mystery had been solved, and the man went on his way. And now Little Ray knew that there was often scarcely enough to feed their own family, so as they were walking back to the house, the little boy looked up and says, "Mama, do you want me to wash that mark off the curb?" And without hesitating, Mama said, "No, leave the mark there. The strangers who came to the door were good people," she explained, "just down on their luck. We ought to help them," Mama said. And thus, by example, was Little Ray led. Now that you've caught this glimpse into the young life that made the man, some of the idealism is better understood. For in later years, the grown-up who was once called Little Ray, the grown-up would say, "I was born rich because of the parents I had." Well, now you know what he meant. For Little Ray grew up to become H. Ross Perot. And now you know the rest of the story.